Hello, and thank you for joining me on the Where to Start Yoga series. My name is Clyde Hampton, aka Champion Yogi, and this is my home. This is where I share my yoga space with the beautiful Thick Thigh Yoga. If you don't know her, you haven't seen her, go over to her YouTube channel, her Instagram channel, her TikTok channel. It is all Thick Thigh Yoga, or just her website, thickthighyoga.com. You can follow her. She does amazing things as well. However, let's move forward. What we are here for today is to work on step two of our Peacock Pose. Last episode of our Peacock Pose, we really just wanted to work on getting some pressure over the hands, right? Getting the movement down to start to head into your peacock. We flipped the hands around and got them down onto the mat a little bit, squeeze the elbows in, bringing them underneath your belly, and really found a way to start to work towards the space of just being able to get into the position to start to work into that challenging peacock pose. So today, moving forward, we're going to get right back to that same space, getting those elbows under the belly. And this time, we're going to start to work on what it feels like to start floating one of the legs up. We're going to strengthen through the core. We're going to get into those arms. We're going to get into this practice. So without further ado, let's get started. We always want to start by setting our intentions. What are our intentions today? My intention is today to increase our flexibility on getting those elbows underneath us, increase the strength in your arms to be able to support your body, and to learn how to find the balance in your core muscles to be able to support you through that arm balance. Remember, it's an arm balance, not an arm strong. Okay. So where do we start? Same place we always start. We have to warm the body up. The wrist, super important into this peacock pose. So let's get started with the wrist. Let's get a little bit into the elbows, move the shoulders around a little bit, and then start to talk about what's happening in those core muscles to float up into that peacock. Okay. Let's take it on down. As always, one of my favorite ways to warm up for any of our arm balances is to just start by bringing the hands together, palms together, interlace the fingers, and rolling those wrists around. As you roll your wrists around, it just starts to wake them up, that fluidity, all the stuff that starts to happen, and then waking those fingers up as well to get yourself nice and going. Once you have done that, you've got your wrists feeling good, you've got your hands feeling good, you want to start to get into the elbows a little bit. What I like to do is bring the hands down to the mat, stack the shoulders over the wrist, and then just start to apply a little bit of pressure into the palms. Press strong into the palms to lift the chest up, and then bend into the elbows a little bit to start to create that space. And then just press and lift. You don't have to go down super deep. It's just about making that happen into the elbows and having that bend show up so you can start to feel those elbows get some good movement. Also into your shoulders. A good thing that I would like to do is recommend is your range of motion. You can start by taking your hands all the way up, and I like to just bring them out wide like that half sun. We'll start with the hands in heart center. Just press your hands all the way up. Let your pinky rotate away so the palms start to come forward, and then bring the hands all the way down. That's going to give you a great range of motion in all of your shoulders, and it's going to give you a great range of motion just lengthening out through the arms as well. That is going to benefit all of these movements, these supported spaces that you need to be in and staying stagnant. So again, you just bring the hands to heart center, take a deep inhale. As you lengthen the hands up, peel the hands apart and exhale. Bring the hands all the way down. Again, they come back together. Inhale. Peel apart. Exhale. Remember, you want all the range out of your arms, so don't just take your hands up about halfway and start to separate them and go out wide. Really let those hands reach all the way up. Let the biceps start to come back behind the ears, lengthen nice and long, and then peel the hands apart and reach as far away as you can to really stretch out through those arms and keep those long reaching arms, right? Okay, so core muscles. Let's get started with them as well. We have our cat cows as always. You want to take your cat cows in all the different ways. One, you're going to start to allow that weight to stack over your wrist. So this is already going to start to feel good to where we're going. And then you just belly down to the floor, gaze up towards the ceiling, and then chin into your chest and your belly button up into your spine. You can have as many of these as you need, but always remember your warm-ups want to be at least 3 to 5 good strong minutes of your body getting the chance to move and get loose and start feeling a lot better. Also, taking it over the side as the obliques will show up a little bit today. You don't have to do the most, but again, this is just a part of your 5-minute warm-up. So make sure you have a little bit of that as well. You can have some belly rolls, rolling the belly all the way around, taking it in the opposite direction. Remember, we're really going to get into that belly today. And then last but not least, again, we're floating those legs up behind you. You're pressing those hips down and floating the legs up behind you. I like to recommend to warm you up some locust pose. Locust pose is what we're doing. So we're going to lay all the way down onto the belly and untuck the toes. Once your toes are untucked and the tops of the feet are down, take your hands back by your sides. Now you can keep your palms down on your sides for your peacock pose. This could actually be very helpful for you. But if not, if you want a little bit more openness to your shoulders, you can just take your hands behind you. And all we're going to do here is squeeze those thighs together a little bit more and then press the hips down into the mat, lift the chest up, and if you can, float the knees and the feet off the mat. And then exhale, just bring it back down. Want a little bit more shoulders here? You can just lift those hands off the hips and then take that inhale, press the hips down, lift all the way up. Exhale, lower yourself back down. Now, that's a little intense as well. As you rise up, maybe you pull the hands a little bit back closer towards your heels, but you only need about 3 to 5 of those as you go through to really just start to wake up and again, find that press, find that lift. Feel your body press your hips down and lift everything else up. That's how you support yourself when we get to that peacock space. So, let's get started. We're all warm. We're all ready. Let's get into it. Last time we had the hands flipping backwards, so we're going to do that same thing again. We have the elbows coming underneath the body, so we're going to do that same thing again. We're starting to shift the shoulders forward and lower ourselves down to that comfortable space. Once you've reached that space where your shoulders can come down to the same height as your elbows, you're ready for this next phase. Keeping one knee down will start to give you that space to float one leg up to come to your peacock. So again, flip the fingertips around, find your comfortable space of how far your hands should be away from you. Allow those palms to come down to the mat. Start to shift your shoulders forward. Squeeze the elbows together as you lower your body down. And then just keep the left knee down just like it is and take the right leg nice and long and just float it up and hold this space. And again, bring the right knee down, press through the wrist, rise back up. If you feel like you need a break right here, come on back, take that break, honor your body. Listen to your body. If your body's saying that's a lot for her wrist, don't worry. One day it won't be a lot. One day you'll get used to it. You'll tolerate it a little better, and you can last longer into it. But if this today, right here in this space, it's your wrist is saying that's enough for us right now. Take a break. Give yourself a minute, and really give yourself a minute. 60 full seconds of a break before you hop back into that. You have to be respectful of where your wrists are today. You can't really push them too hard because they just don't have that kind of space. Okay. So once you are ready, come on back to it. We'll get into the left side. Find the palms, squeeze the elbows, shift down, lower, and then just float that left leg up behind you. Now, the purpose of this is you're really trying to find that length from the shoulders straight all the way back through the toe, right? So you want the shoulders, the hips, the knees, and the ankles and the toes to all be about the same height off the mat. And remember, when you start to come forward, as you bring those wrists down, you start to shift your weight forward, you're squeezing those elbows in, you're lowering your body down. When you get ready to float one of those legs up, you also don't want to start to let your face just start to melt down. Stay strong through the core, lifting through that chest and lifting through that back leg. Nice and straight, nice and long, and keep your gaze down. Don't allow yourself to look forward. Keep your gaze down and stay strong into those arms. And this is going to help you not only strengthen the lower part of your core that's lifting the legs up, but lifting the upper part of your abdominal muscles as well to keep the chest lifted. Again, it's a balance. So the more your face starts to sink down, sure, the more your feet will start to float up off the mat. But to find that nice, perfect balance stack, you have to learn to lift the chest as well as the legs, and you're pressing into those hips. Okay. So one more time, as we get our work through, let's flip the hands around. Let's bring the palms down. You're going to shift the body weight forward, squeeze those elbows in, lower into it, and then just lift through the chest, lift through that back leg, and press right here. Hold for as long as you can, at least a deep inhale and exhale. And then remember, bring that knee back down, press back into those palms, bring it all the way back, and reset, reset, reset. Now, again, the wrist can have a whole lot of impact from this. You shouldn't do it any longer than you feel comfortable doing it. If it starts to bother you, if it starts to hurt you at any point in time, just stop, take a break. Give yourself a full minute worth of a break. If a full minute is still not feeling better, give yourself one more full minute. And after two full minutes, if your wrist is still bothering you, I think it's about time to call it enough for today and just walk away from it. You can come back tomorrow. Remember, you don't have to get this today. You don't have to get this in this video. You don't have to get this in any set amount of time. You're allowed to take as long as your body needs from where you are to where you're going. Just continue on the journey, continue to practice and continue to push. And I promise you it'll come within the time that it's supposed to come in. Make sure you're recovering after something like this as well. This is a lot for your wrist. I suggest like a good rice therapy, but if you could just take your hand and put it in something that moves around just a little bit, like a light rice, you can move the rice around. That'll be good for your wrist and good for your fingers, and it'll help you out a lot as you move forward throughout your practice. I hope that you are practicing your peacock pose. I hope that the wrists are not bothering you too much and scaring you off. It is peacock pose. It is a challenging pose, and it is a tough space to be in. You also are allowed to use props as you get ready to go through this. One of your best props that you're going to be able to use is a yoga wheel. If you have a yoga wheel, it can really help you out with getting into your peacock pose. You can allow it to be underneath your chest, and you can shift yourself forward, allow your wrist to be down, and really support yourself through that space. And that wheel can help you out if the core is giving you a little bit of trouble and you're not quite there yet. You still want to work on it. And if your core is not there yet, having the wheel under you won't help your core get to that space. You're going to need to get that wheel from under you. But what you're going to want to do is start to hold a few planks. That's usually going to get you started, right? Some 15-second planks. See if you can work your way to 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 50 seconds, a minute. Continue to build up on that, but that will start to strengthen the core muscles that you need to be able to support yourself to stay up into that peacock. If I did not answer your questions here today, always, always, always feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, any of those places. I am c.hemp.ionyogi. Yes, that is champion yogi. Reach out to me. We can set up private sessions and we can sit and we can talk about it. We can go over it in a little more detail. You can just reach out to me and ask me a quick question. I'd be happy to answer your questions for you. Or we can set up a personal session right here in town in Orlando, Florida. You can meet up with me. Let's have some fun. Feel free to come to class. Tuesdays at Yoga University, Sundays at One Raw Yoga, Body On Studios on Wednesdays. Just send me a message, hit me up. We can flow together. We can learn these things together. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me for another day of Where to Start. I'll see you guys next week, this time. Same pose, next step. Have a good one.